What was it like growing up in Corona, Queens, New York?
Corona, Queens is like a pretty rough side of Queens. Um, it's like any other hood, you know what I mean? It's a lot of history where I'm from. Louis Armstrong had a house over there in Corona, Queens. Um, Malcolm X, not too far from Corona, like the very neighboring next little town or whatever is East Elmhurst. Malcolm X had a crib out there. It's actually the crib that got firebombed. You know what I'm saying? That's right in East Elmhurst. You know what I'm saying? And East Elmhurst and Corona is like border each other.
So, as a child, was it hard?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like any other hood. You know what I mean? You know, you grow up, you gotta fight. You know what I mean? You gotta hold your own. Growing up, you've seen a lot of shit happen. Drugs, murders. You know, same scenario like any other hood. You know what I'm saying? They got that reputation.
So, when and how did you fall in love with music?
Early. I mean, music in general, you know what I'm saying? Like when I came out of my mom's. You know what I mean? I grew up listening to you know, from a baby, hearing Al Green, Isaac Hayes, you know, Curtis Mayfield. You know what I mean? Aretha Franklin. You know what I mean? So many others. Gladys Knight, the Pips. You know, so music in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was born to that, you know what I mean? And by the time I started, you know, had a brush with hip hop, it was like at the age 9.
Okay. And what age did you actually start rapping?
Seriously, like about the age 13.
And how did that come about? Were you just fooling around, or was it hearing it?
Now I was so in love with hip hop already at that time. You know what I'm saying? I knew I wanted to be an MC. You know what I mean? What y'all would call rapping today. You know what I'm saying? We called MCing back then.
So, how did young Nathaniel Wilson become the Kool G Rap?
Started writing at 13. 15, really started like perfecting myself into a particular style of flow, and from there it just progressed. But since the age of 15, I was like trying to get in the game.
And back then, when you first started writing songs, did you know you were going to be successful? Like, did you have that feeling?
I knew people was gonna pay attention to what I do. You know what I mean? Because it was in my heart, and I had my mind set on being one of the best. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just do it to do it. You know, I wanted to be the elite at what I do.
Right. And why did you choose the name Kool G Rap?
Cool Genius to rap. You know what I'm saying? The G stand for genius. You know what I mean? That was just a popping name.
And who were the MCs and DJs that influenced you back then?
Melly Mel from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Kool Mo D from the Treacherous 3. Grandmaster Cash from Cold Crush 4. As far as DJs, Flash. Yeah, at that point, at this particular time, it was Flash.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was it. Flash was the one making noise. Then you could say like Cutmaster DC.
Would you say that your sound is kind of influenced by them?
By the rappers that I named.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
other than artists, what inspires you?
Reality. You know, my experiences growing up, movies, everything that you absorb going through life. You know what I'm saying? Personal experiences. Whether you went through them or somebody close to you went through them.
Right.
You know, you just absorb everything. Anytime you're a writer, poet, or anything like that, you know, you utilize everything that you experience going through life in general. You know what I mean? And you express it in your art form.
So looking back, what was the most difficult event or moment in your life?
dealing with the passing of certain family members.
Right.
You know?
And did you put that into your music?
I touched on it.
Was that your outlet?
No, it wasn't an outlet. It was just an expression. You know what I mean? I don't really need an outlet like to deal with personal things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm one of those people that I deal with reality, and without it getting the best of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a very realistic thinking person. I'm a very understanding person. You know, and the worst part of death is just you miss the person's physical. But I never see death as like a real bad thing unless somebody snuffed the life out of somebody
Mm-hmm.
and their lifespan get cut short. You know what I mean? That's why I consider it a tragedy. You know what I mean? But otherwise, like if it's due to old age or sickness or something like that, you know what I mean? With sickness ain't good either. It's a tragedy that so many people got to die from so many certain ailments when it's cures out there, but because we live in a political system that's pretty much run by big corporations and pharmaceutical companies control the laws, you know what I'm saying? And it's not in their interest to see people healthy. So people have to die from certain ailments
Mm-hmm.
and diseases when they don't really have to.
Okay. So what's the biggest accomplishment in your life?
Being right here, getting to this point where, you taking something like my life to your college course, you know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest accomplishment, you know what I mean? Like, if you would have asked me if I'd have known I'd be sitting here doing this when I started, I would have never figured that one out.
So your career began with teaming up with DJ Polo, and what was your relationship with him like?
Well, first of all, my man Eric B from Eric B and Rakim introduced me and Polo, and but I knew of Polo. Polo knew of me already because we both had names ringing through the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we was aware of each other, but we never had the formal meeting until my man Eric B plugged us up, and that's when me and Polo got to know each other.
And did you guys have like a good relationship, a bad relationship?
Nah, Polo's my dude, you know what I'm saying? Back then, now to this day, you know what I'm saying? Polo's the homie right there.
And what was it like recording and writing It's a Demo in one day?
I already had the lyrics written like the night before or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually recorded it in the same night, you know what I mean? But It's a Demo was meant to be a demo like for a demo tape. That's why its title is a demo. But it happened to be my first single, and everybody loved it. It actually hit.
Were you surprised that it was such a hit?
Not at all. When I laid the verses down and the final mixes and all that was put in place, even before the final mixes, like after the lyrics was laid on the track, and Marley did what he did to it, I knew people would love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, it was undeniable.
So what motivated you to go solo back in 1993?
I had done like I think an amount of like 3 to 4 albums with Polo already by that time, and we was already a group for like maybe a span of 7 to 8 years, and I just felt the desire at that time to just branch out. You know what I mean? Like two grown men can't eat off the same plate forever. You know what I mean?
So in 1995, your first solo album peaked at number 1 at the R&B and hip hop charts. What was your inspiration behind that album?
It was just basically me doing my craft. But certain songs, like For the Brothers, was inspired by me losing certain dudes that I was close to. My man Puzzle, my man K Vaughn. You know what I'm saying? That's why I mentioned those names in the song For the Brothers off the 456 album. And as far as anything else, it was just the desire to keep doing what I do.
Right. So what was it like rapping with Nas on Fast Life?
Well, me and Nas go back even, at that time. You know what I'm saying? I heard about Nas first through my man that produced my second album, my man Large Professor. While I was in the midst of recording that album, he was telling me about a young cat from out of Queensbridge that's like pretty ill, you know what I mean? And get busy lyrically. And I was just hearing about him at this time. And then eventually me and Nas, I think we spoke on the phone or we met in person or whatever. But before he actually got on the record, 456, I was already working with Nas. I had Nas like recording certain songs like for his demo to shop him to certain labels. You know, I was trying to get Nas situated, like get him a situation and everything. And I took Nas' demo to Kevin Lyles. That was like one of the head dudes at Def Jam at the time.
Right.
And somebody else, you know, Leo Cohen and Kevin Lyles. Those was the big cats up there. And it was like he sounded too much like a G Rap. You know, so I was like a little confused because I know it's similarities, but I knew my dude had his own identity.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Nas would get a situation from being at my house, and then another rapper named MC Search that was part of a group back then called Third Base had called me up out the blue, like, yo, G, what's good? What you doing? Like, just sitting here chilling, you know, kicking it with some homies. He's like, yo, I'm gonna shoot through. He shot through, he came to the house and all that. I introduced him to Nas, like, yo, this is my dude right here. Yo, my dude he's straight fire. Like, word. You know, I started playing shit. Nas, he was recording at the crib and all that. And he was open. He was open off my man Nas. You know, and they did the number exchange and all that. And that's how Nas linked up the search. And then, you know, that will lead Nas getting signed to Columbia Records.
Right. So would you say that you were a big part in making him who he is today?
Of course. Nas said it himself. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even got to really kick that right now, you know what I'm saying? But we're doing a very detailed interview, so I'm just, you know, letting it all be known. But Nas said this himself. Nas has mentioned this before in interviews, in records.
More than even Nas. I mean, you're looked up to by a lot. So your third solo album, The Giancana Story, was supposed to be released in 2000. Why was it released in 2002 instead?
Because of complications with the label at the time, and they went through a situation of losing a financial backing, and they distributed.
So do you think that had like an impact on the album itself, or?
Absolutely, you know what I mean? Because when I do something in mind for it to come out at a certain time, you know, I'll be wanting it to hit that time that it was meant to drop. You know what I'm saying? But and then you lose steam and everything with all the pre-promotions and all that. I had a single that I put out that gained a lot of momentum. It was titled My Life. People was loving it. You know what I'm saying? So for the album to follow so far behind that, the release of that single and all that, you know, that you kind of you lose the momentum.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You also stated in that album that the G stands for Giancana. But, I mean, on other occasions, you said it stands for genius. So which one is it?
Well, it's not, I'm not contradicting myself or anything. It's just, I was just merely stating in one of my verses that it could stand for anything, Giancana, gangster, or whatever, you know what I mean? But I wasn't saying that Giancana was the definite meaning for G in the name, you know what I mean?
So if you had to pick one, which one of your tracks are you most proud of?
I couldn't pick one. It's so many.
Can you give us like a top 3, top 5?
Probably a top 5. Road to Riches, Men at Work, Kool is Back, Talk Like Sex. And what is it, one more, right? Ill Street Blues.
And why? Are those like the ones that stood out the most to you because they were most personal?
They just, when you're an artist and you write, and especially back then I wasn't writing the tracks. Like my first and second album, a lot of times I wouldn't write the tracks. I would just write. I would have an arsenal of stuff and just lay whatever goes with whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was my formula back then. before I start actually vibing out to a track and custom, like tailor making something to go with a particular track.
Right.
And if you go back and listen to those records, you would think G Rap just really sat down and absorbed the track and Taylor made something to that track, but nah. I was just writing so much different stuff and so many different styles at the time that I could just pick, choose, and refuse, you know what I mean?
Right. So, what makes you different from the rest?
Ask some of the best. I mean, some cats you can't ask, you know what I mean? Some of the dudes that referenced me, like a Tupac, a Biggie, a Eminem, a Jay-Z, a Nas, certain members of Wu-Tang, Big Pun, you know what I mean?
Right.
So many others. Pusha T just shouted me on his new album, you know what I'm saying? Shout back to Pusha T, you know what I mean? And I hear you, I heard pieces of the album, baby, you doing your thing too. You know what I'm saying? You sounding real good out there.
So, just to touch on that, music journalist Peter Shapiro said that you created the blueprint for big names like Nas and Biggie. So, what is it like to be on that pedestal?
It's an honor. You know what I'm saying? To be acknowledged and recognized by who I would consider to be the elite of the game, because the names that I mentioned is definitely the elite.
Right.
As far as being lyricists, spitters, rappers, MCs, whatever you want to title it, or all of the above, they definitely they generals.
Mm-hmm.
They generals of that category.
So, if someone that looks up to you, someone like Jay-Z, for instance, would ask you to be on the record, would you do it?
Of course. You know, I'm a fan of Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? And I like a lot of Jay-Z's music. I love a lot of his music. You know what I'm saying? To put it a better way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I would in an instant.
So, what do you think it takes to be respected in the game?
To be respected in the game? Well, right now they base it on different things. You know what I'm saying? To be respected in the game in my era was you just being original, nice at what you do, have a passion about what you do, you take it serious, and just being really yourself, true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But see, now they base it on different things. They base it on, you know, like robbing somebody and putting the video up on YouTube and, you know what I'm saying, just wilding out. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of cats, I feel confused keeping it real with some other shit. They confuse it with keeping it real stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But there's a difference. Keeping it real, keep it real stupid.
So, what do you think, or who do you think, are the most influential rappers today?
Well, I ain't familiar with a whole lot of cats. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these dudes is not really on my radar like that. But I do acknowledge certain dudes. Rick Ross is like one of my favorites. And I know it's a ton of dudes that came out after him and all that. But as far as what moved me, you know what I'm saying? I do Ross. You know what I mean? Ross, I vibe out to that a lot.
Mm-hmm. So, what is it about his music that stands out to you?
He's one of the dudes I feel still got the soul in the music. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these dudes is like, they got ear candy, but it lack the soul.
Right.
You know what I mean? J. Cole, too, do his thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout to the homie, too. You know what I'm saying? I hear you, baby. You know what I mean? You know, he's a serious dude when it comes to the spit thing.
Right. So, what advice would you give to an up-and-coming rapper?
An up-and-coming rapper, what advice would I give him? Besides, consider doing something else. Because this game is so saturated, it's it's becoming to be more artists than it is fans of the music. I would tell them, if you do it from the heart. You know what I'm saying? Do it because you want to be the best at what you do. Don't do it because of all the flash and all the material things that come along with it. You know, that could be a reason too. Of course, everybody want to progress. You know, everybody want to have nice things, but don't make that your main drive. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that be the battery that move you or drive you. You know what I'm saying? Let it be from the soul. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you keep longevity.
Would you say that's what's ruining rap today? Would you say it's material possession?
Absolutely. I think everybody's just, you know, trying to jump aboard the ship because they see it's like a easy way out. You know what I mean? It's just like it was one time when the only way out the hood, besides a real good education, which wasn't available to everybody, was you had to be nice on that ball court. NBA. You know what I'm saying? NBA, that was the ticket out. You know what I'm saying? Then hip hop came, and then as the years went on, hip hop became more, how you say,
Commercialized?
no, more bigger money. You know what I mean? Bigger money involved. So a lot of cats wanted to use hip hop as a easy ticket out, and I think that's what started to dilute hip hop in its true form. You know, dudes just like they don't take their craft that serious. They just pretty much just talking on a record, and they using swag to carry it. You know, to carry it and make it acceptable, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? That, but when it's just about swag, then it kills the art form.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you gotta have swag, you gotta have charisma, you gotta have personality. That was always a part of hip hop, but when you just make it the only element, you know what I'm saying, and you remove the passion out of it, you know, from the very core of your soul, then you run into a thing like the question you asked me now, like, you know, why is it hip hop is dying and rap is dying? You know what I mean? It shouldn't even be a question like that in an interview, in no hip hop interview.
So, tell me about your newest album that's coming out.
Well, the newest project I got coming out right now is a collaboration project, but my man name is Necro. You know what I'm saying? And he's a rapper he's been on the circuit for like about 10 years plus, doing his own thing, indie label style. You know what I'm saying? Created a fan base on his own. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of credit to him because he was a cat that had to do it all on his own. He didn't have the major label machine behind him and just had to put it in grind mode for all these years and create a fan base where he's all by himself, where he's able to tour the world. You know what I'm saying? Like all the places I'm getting ready to go in Europe, Necro probably went to twice already, or 3 times.
So, what was the inspiration behind this album? Like, is there a set theme?
Well, it started off, you know, like Necro was like I'm an artist that Necro looked up to a lot when he was coming up, so I was very influential on him. You know, me and others as well, not just me. I can't take all the credit. There was also Big Daddy Kane. There was also Rakim. A couple of other cats that I can't think of right off the top of the head because that's his favorites. I'm speaking on his favorites right now, but those are the main influences, the names I mentioned, and it just got to a point in his career where Necro is a name that was on my radar. So it started to make sense, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been hearing about Cat for like the past couple of years before, you know, prior to him reaching out to me. You know what I'm saying? Already started to become familiarized with him. And hearing about, you know, a lot of dudes giving props, a lot of comparisons with me and him, and things of that nature. So he reached out. You know, he wanted to work on some songs together, and in the midst of us doing those songs, we just came to the decision like, yo, let's make it a whole album. Like, you know, instead of an EP or a mixtape or whatever, you know what I'm saying? We just decided to make a whole project out of it because the first songs we started working on just started coming together so well.
Right. So, how long is the process of writing and recording?
This album was over a span of 2 years. You know what I mean? And that's because, you know, we was recording the album, but in the midst of that, you know, we both got lives, and we both got solo careers as well. So, you know, we was doing our own solo thing to maintain doing whatever we do too outside of our collaboration together. So it took, and plus we didn't want to rush because we didn't want to just throw anything together. We wanted what we did to be classic worthy.
Right. So other than music, is there anything else that you're working towards?
Um, I got a few things in the pipeline that I wouldn't really put out there right now until it gets a little more situated and I get more of a grip on it. But yeah, there's other things that I plan on venturing in, and one thing I can say is my next solo project is going to be more geared towards visual than audio. You know what I'm saying? But of course, it's going to be an audio part to the project as well. But I want to make this the first time G Rap puts out an album and pretty much make the main focus on all visual.
Okay. So what do you do in your spare time?
I learn, I research things. I like learning history. I'm very aware of things politically, things of that nature. I like to learn. And if I ain't doing that, then I'm watching movies and stuff like that. But more than entertainment, my first choice would be like a documentary that I feel is very informative. That would be my first choice right now at this point in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I'm learning things that's like really intriguing me.
So what's intriguing you?
Oh, like learning about the history of religions and learning things about certain religions I never knew. Learning about my history, world history, because a wise man knows history. You know what I mean? Because and it's good to know history because it always repeats itself. So when you know history, you pretty much got a grasp of what's going on right now.
Right. So would you say that your ability to learn and your passion for learning incorporates into your music? Does it make you a better rapper?
Of course, because yeah, when you have a desire to learn, you're constantly exposing yourself to more vocabulary. So you're enhancing your vocabulary. You're expanding your whole view on life in general. So that puts the creative process in a higher gear. You know what I mean? So you're able to expand yourself out of your normal parameters and paradigm and go beyond that.
And what does a regular day look like for you?
A regular day, writing, whether on something I want to do visually, or music, working on a feature, finishing up the project with Necro. You know what I'm saying? That's all done now, but that was consuming a lot of my time, for like the past couple of years. So that's what a regular day would have been like, scribing another verse, another chorus for this project. And outside of that, like I said, catching a movie, cooking. I love to cook. You know what I mean?
What do you usually cook?
I love seafood. Seafood, but then I get busy with the steaks. I cook a lot of stuff. Duck, steaks. A lot of Italian dishes.
So is there anything else you'd like to add or tell your viewers?
Definitely. Look out for this Godfather's project, Once Upon a Crime, baby, November 19th. You heard? Cop that. It's definitely an onslaught of lyrical craziness. Trust me.
Alrighty, so I just want to say thank you to G Rap. Thank you for this interview. Appreciate you giving me your time.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty.